The new year is fast approaching, and that means there's a ton of games coming out. And I came up with 15 of them, but there's about 10 ish honorable mentions. Honestly, it wasn't too hard to narrow it down because next year the list may look long, but a lot of it is stuff that I'm honestly not interested in. A lot of the AAA stuff. It's this year for the first time in a long time. I think half the list is like indie stuff. Let's get number one right out of the way. Bubsy, the perfect collection. No, I'm kidding. Let's go over all of the honorable mentions first. First up is a game that was revealed earlier this year called Chain Staff. I don't really know what kind of game this is. It looks sort of Metroidvania-y, but it might be that on top of something else. It could be mixing some genres. But it's a 2D game, and it caught my eye when I saw it. I think it was at maybe Summer Games Fest. Don't really have much else to say about it, but it looks cool to me. Then we have the next chapter of the Dark Pictures anthology, which is called Directive 8020. Now, I was late to the party on the Dark Pictures anthology. I'm actually in the process of playing them now. I streamed the first two a few weeks ago, and I have yet to play the second two, House of Ashes and The Devil in Me. But I enjoyed Man of Medan and Little Hope, so I'm looking forward to the next one. And I did it like the Quarry as well. That was good, even though it was not part of the anthology. Supermassive Games makes pretty good stuff. And this time it's set in space, so that'll be a new wrinkle to this story that they haven't done before. And it's kicking off season 2 of the anthology. Then I have a game called Industria 2. Now, this is a game that's been on my backlog for a long time. Well, the first one, Industria. I think it's set in the Cold War, the first one, and it's like some kind of, it's a first-person shooter. I heard it's not that long. It's maybe like 4 or 5 hours, but the premise is really cool. And after watching the trailer for Industria 2, I'm like, okay, now I actually do have to go back and play the first one because this one looks really awesome. It looks like they got a bigger budget, probably had more time to work on it. Just a big step up from the first one. Then I have something that almost made the list, just barely didn't, and that is Pokemon Legends Z to A. Well, we'll see if it actually comes out next year. It probably will, I think, because they took an extra year. If Game Freak was going by their normal cadence of Pokemon releases, we should have got one this year. But honestly, with how bad the launch was for Scarlet and Violet, I'm okay with them delaying it, giving them an extra year because, man, that was a buggy launch. I haven't actually played Scarlet and Violet because of how bad the launch was, but with a game that's probably pretty big like Legends Z to A, they need more time to optimize, especially for the original Switch. I'm guessing it's going to come to Switch 2. We all know that. And obviously, I'm making this list before the Switch 2 is revealed, and there's probably going to be some massive games revealed for that, like probably a new Mario Kart, a new 3D Mario. Sadly, probably I would love a new 3D Donkey Kong, but it's never going to happen. Then we have another game which it's a sequel, but I have not played the previous game, kind of like Industria, and that is The Sinking City 2. It's being developed by Frogwares, the guys that made a lot of the Sherlock Holmes games. I have not played The Sinking City 1, but I do want to because it's a Lovecraft game, and I like Lovecraft stuff. And from that cinematic trailer alone, I'm like, okay, I'm on board. Then I have Witchfire, which was revealed several years ago, and I think it's in early access right now. I don't know for sure that it's coming out next year. We can only speculate. Some of these on this list I assume are 2025 games, but they may not be. Witchfire is one of those, but it's been in early access. I don't usually like playing games in early access. There's some very rare exceptions, but if a game like this, it looks like it'll be better as a final product, so I'll just wait for the 1.0 release. But I've been looking for some kind of new fantasy shooter. I think we need more of them. And, we'll get to that later. There's another, very high up on this list, there's another fantasy shooter. Then I have a game that probably very few people have heard of, and it's called Eartheon. It's actually, believe it or not, a new Mega Drive game. Yes, it's coming to the Sega Mega Drive. Thankfully, it's also coming to other modern platforms, I think including Switch, PC, everything else. I don't know much about the creator, but I think he's a guy that's worked on Mega Drive games before. But it's a shmup. I love shmups. And this looks like one of the best ones in recent years. So sign me up. Then I have Mecha Break, which is that mech game that was revealed. I don't know when that was revealed. We've seen a couple trailers for it now. But I have the feeling it might be a little bit too fast for me. I've heard that it's like lightning fast because it's kind of Gundam-ish, and I don't know. I'll have to try it for myself, but it might be just so fast that I'm just not good at it. But we'll see. I'll give it a try. Then we have the game that kicked off the Game Awards this year, and this is what kind of clued everyone in that, wow, this is going to be a special year at the Game Awards, and that is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. I don't think anybody saw this coming. And it's being made by Dotemu, or Dotemu, don't know how to say it. They're the ones that made TMNT Shredder's Revenge and a few other games, and that game is awesome. And them making a side-scrolling Ninja Gaiden game, huge deal. And I've never even played a Ninja Gaiden game, but after that trailer, I'm like, I gotta play this. It's a 2D Metroidvania, question mark, maybe? And I'm a big Metroidvania fan. There's gonna be several on this list. Actually, the next one is also a Metroidvania. But Ninja Gaiden looks really cool. And I got 2 more honorable mentions left. The next one also revealed at the Game Awards, I think right after Ninja Gaiden, and that is Shadow Labyrinth, the dark, edgy Pac-Man. When I first saw the trailer, like the first half of the trailer, I'm like, no, I'm not into this. I'm out. This is stupid. But then as the trailer goes on, they're showing more and more mechanics, and it's showing us, oh, this is a Metroidvania. And I'm like, well, I love Pac-Man. I love Metroidvanias. This is made for me. So, fingers crossed this is good. I'm really hoping it is, and I think it probably is, because I know Bandai Namco recently canceled a dozen games, and they wouldn't cancel this if they know they have a hit on their hands. So, or they kept it because of the Pac-Man name. I don't know. It's based on the secret level episode with Pac-Man that I haven't seen the show, but all I need to hear is Pac-Man Metroidvania, and I'm in. And the final honorable mention is Steel Hunters, also revealed at the Game Awards. There's several games on this list that were revealed there. And at first, I was like, is this Titanfall 3? Like, it obviously isn't, but it looked very Titanfall-esque. And a little bit of, as the trailer went on, it looked more and more like a Transformers game. And I loved War for Cybertron. I remember playing that back in the day. Love Titanfall. It looks like a blend of the two. It's being made by Wargaming, the people who made World of Warships, World of Tanks. I feel like that's all, in World of Warplanes. I feel like that's all they've been doing is the World of games. So it's kind of cool to see them spread their wings a bit and do something with mechs. It looks really cool. The gameplay looks neat. I hope it's good. So that's all the honorable mentions out of the way. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. My top 15 most anticipated games of 2025. Coming in at number 15 is not a new game. It's a remaster. And I debated whether or not I should put a remaster on this list. But I decided yes, because honestly, the choices for next year, although there's a lot of games coming out, I feel like the pickings, at least for my tastes, are not that big. Or there aren't that many choices. And that is Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I adore Donkey Kong. Aside from Metroid, it's probably my favorite. Those two, Metroid and DK, are probably my favorite Nintendo IPs. And unfortunately for me, they're 2 of the least selling. I think DK sells pretty well, but nowhere near Mario and Zelda, which Nintendo cranks out like a mofo constantly. And it just sucks to see it be left in the dust. And Donkey Kong has been neglected for a decade, and it made me pissed. It just I held out hope every Nintendo Direct. I'm like, come on, give us something, Donkey Kong. And it just would never happen every single Direct. And finally, I was watching this past Direct, and there's a shot of DK, and I'm like, I freak out. You can watch my reaction, but I was like, oh my god, I thought it was a new game. But it's not a new game, but I'll take this if it means, oh, please, people out there, please buy it so Nintendo will make more Donkey Kong games. It's a remaster of the Wii game, the Wii and the 3DS game. I played it on the 3DS. I actually tried it on the Wii as well. Wii version's much better. But I'm just so glad that it's coming to the Switch finally, because it's like Tropical Freeze was a decade ago, and people complained that DKC Returns never came to Switch, and it's baffling that it took them literally to the end of the Switch's life to put it out. It's like, if the Switch comes out in March as it's rumored to, it will literally come out 2 months shy of the end of the Switch. That's just wild. It's like they had it just sitting in. It kind of feels like they just had it as a backup plan. Well, if our If our releases are light towards the end of the Switch, just throw that out. Just dump that. People will buy it again. I will certainly buy it again for full price. And I want to support them when they put out a Donkey Kong game because I want that dream of a 3D Donkey Kong game like Mario 64, like a better DK 64. I mean, Kirby got one before Donkey Kong. Kirby got Kirby in the Forgotten Land. So, God, I want a 3D Donkey Kong. So yeah, that is number 15. Number 14 is a game I hadn't heard of until I saw a random ad about this, and that is Platypus Reclayed. Now this is another remaster. I know. I shouldn't be putting remaster, but it's okay because in this case I haven't played the original. It's Platypus apparently was a shmup, and I love those from back in PS1 days, I believe, or maybe PS2. I think it's PS1. They made 2 of them, and it's a shmup made entirely of clay. It's a claymation shmup, and I'm like, that is cool. And I feel like we're seeing not a resurgence, but like all these claymation games coming out, which is really neat. I mean, you have all these different games embracing old styles of animation and filmmaking for new games, and it's really cool. Like there's that Felt shmup coming out. That didn't make my list. Feltopia. It's made of all of felt. But like Harold Halibut was all clay. I haven't played that unfortunately yet. And then you got stuff like Cuphead and Mouse PI for Hire. That's coming up later, using that old like 1930s Max Fleischer old Disney animation. And then you got stuff like Squadron 42 versus the UFOs, I think is what it's called. And that makes the game, it's a shmup that makes it look like a 1950s sci-fi movie, like a B movie. Just really cool seeing people implement all these styles into games. So I saw a random trailer for this. They're remastering it. They're actually basically remaking the game completely. All the clay assets are being redone because you have to. You're using 4K cameras now. I mean, you didn't have to. You could have just put the exact same game out, but they care enough to make it again with new clay assets. So it's very cool. I will definitely be trying that since I have not played the original. Number 13 is a game revealed at the Game Awards as well that I did not see coming, and that is Turok Origins. Now, I'm a Fairweather Turok fan. I'm not one of those people that completely lost their... I was very shocked, but people that lost their mind at that reveal because rightly so, we assumed Turok was dead because you had the original few games and then it lay dormant for a while. You had Turok Evolution a little bit after that, lay dormant, and then you had simply Turok, the reboot, in 2008. And it's been dead since then, since 2008, so like 16 years. And just suddenly, Saber Interactive is like, hey, we're making a third-person Turok game. I know people, like the purists, are like, ooh, that's not Turok. And I kind of agree because I say I'm Fairweather fan because I've only played them semi-recently. I bought the Night Dive, because I like Night Dive so much, I bought the remasters, all 3 Turok remasters. Tried them. Turok 2 is a masterpiece. It's brilliant. 3's nowhere near as good. I don't think 1 is as good, but Turok 2, just perfection. And hearing some of the complaints, like some people at first were hyped, but then they thought about it more, and it's like, well, do we really want Turok back if it's this and it's not like real FPS Turok? Because the ideal would be do to Turok what they did to Doom 2016. Give it the Doom 2016 treatment, where you get like the 3D map you can pull up and it's an FPS, and I mean that'd be amazing, right? But no, I'm guessing, we don't know a ton of details yet, but I'm guessing it's probably like a 3 or 4 player co-op shooter like World War Z or Space Marine because it's Saber Interactive. And I actually have more faith in this game now, and I'm more excited now that I just recently played Space Marine 2, finally. I played it, absolutely love it, and I'm like, well, Saber, you have my trust now. And speaking of Saber, dude, how many irons do they have in the fire? They have that Toxic Commandos John Carpenter game that disappeared. They have a Jurassic Park Survival. That game, if I knew for sure that was a 2025 game, Jurassic Park Survival would have made the list, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, I kind of cheated with some other ones on this list that were not for sure, but I still put it on this list. Oh well. But anyway, I'm rambling. Turok, hope it's good. It's going to be different, but I do hope it's good. Number 12 is Splitgate 2. I mean, I don't have a ton to say about this except it's more Splitgate, and Splitgate was really cool. It scratched that Portal itch, which we've been missing for 15 years or whatever. Like, we never got a Portal 3. Using that concept, but with guns and an arena shooter, genius. Like, Splitgate 1 was a lot of fun. So this looks like more of that, and probably more refined. So, definitely looking forward to that. Here's another game, a third game on this list that is a sequel, and I actually have another one after this. A sequel to a game I have not played the original of. Doing this again, and that is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I've heard a lot about it. I bought it years ago on sale. You know how it goes. People buy stuff on Steam or their console of choice when it's on sale, but they just put it off and put it off because they know it's a time sink. They don't touch it for years. It's been part of my backlog for a long time. I'm probably going to stream it relatively soon before the sequel comes out. I don't anticipate me playing 2 at launch. It might be a bit. But I've heard basically nothing but good things. And also, I don't play RPGs that much. They're a big time commitment. And, I mean, that's why Mass Effect 3 took me longer than 2. It took longer to start it because I'm like, well, these are long games. That's why I played Witcher 3 and I still haven't played the DLC because RPGs, they're long. But, like KCD, I've heard very good things. So, indie studio, actually making good RPGs. I mean, at least somebody is. BioWare isn't, but we got people like Larian making them and Warhorse. Is it Warhorse? Yeah, Warhorse Studios. So, that'll be good. Then number 10 is a game you might not have heard of called Beyond the Ice Palace 2. Another sequel to a game I haven't played. But I don't think many people have played the first one because I had to do some research. I'm like, why is this a sequel? What is the first one? So this is a sequel to, I think it's either a Commodore 64 or an Amiga game. So way back, a game called Beyond the Ice Palace came out. It's very short. It's like 2 hours or something. And it looks nothing like this. What I'm guessing is this studio got the rights. They liked the name. They liked the setting. And they're like, let's just use that to sell the game, but we're going to make a Castlevania ripoff. It's a Castlevania ripoff. I'm not complaining, though, because Castlevania is cool. I like Metroidvanias. And Konami's not making them. Konami, okay, I do give them props. They're re-releasing the old ones. They re-released the Game Boy Advance games. They re-released the DS games, finally. Maybe they're cooking up something. I do want to stream those 3D Castlevania games at some point. The ones made by Mercury Steam. But yeah, like, so if Konami's not going to do it, somebody will. So that's what this is. It's just a clone of Castlevania. It looks cool. I'm going to try it. All right, we're down to the top 9. Number 9 is a game we don't know much about, but I'm already sold, and that is Chronos: The New Dawn. This was revealed earlier this year, and it's made by Bloober Team, who are hit or miss. I enjoyed what I played of Blair Witch, some of it. I haven't played Layers of Fear, though, as far as I don't think I have. But people love Silent Hill 2. So maybe it's a matter of budget. Oh, and The Medium. I forgot. They did The Medium. I actually really liked The Medium. I know a lot of people didn't. But I think it's a matter of their budget, and a lot of their games are smaller budgets, AA games, but I think this is probably going to be more closer to AAA. It looks like Dead Space, and I love Dead Space. We're not getting 4. Screw you, EA. They turned down the pitch for... Oh, God. That could be another video I write about. The creator of Dead Space just came out and said he pitched 4 to EA, and they said no. And also, they supposedly canceled the 2 and 3 remake. See this big middle finger? That's for you, EA. Screw you. But this looks awesome. It's got this guy with a big helmet, and I don't know what's going on in this trailer, but it's sci-fi horror. I love that. That's all I need to know to sell it to me. Number 8 is Killing Floor 3. Now, this is... I've played 2. Not the first one, but Killing Floor 2 I've played quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. It's not much... It's not complicated. It's just It's a zombie game. It's kind of like Back 4 Blood or Left 4 Dead or Call of Duty Zombies. It looks a lot of fun. The second one is fun. So, and they got a ton of new weapons and enemy types. And Tripwire Interactive makes good stuff. I like Chivalry too. So, That'll be fun. Number 7, Mafia: The Old Country. I loved when I played. I finally played Mafia. Played the remakes 1 and 2. Well, 2 is a remaster, 1's a full-on remake. But haven't played 3 yet. I heard mixed things about it. But Hangar 13 was a studio that formed out of 2K to make Mafia games. And instead of Mafia 4, they're going back and doing a prequel. They're going back to where it all started, the old country, Italy, or I think it's Sicily, in the early 1900s. So you're going to have some crappy cars, but mostly horses. One detail about the development they talked about is that it sounds like they're ditching the open world, and it's going to be more of a linear game, which I'm okay with. Mafia, I feel like the open world is kind of wasted. It's just an open world for the sake of being an open world because they don't fill it. Let's be honest, the kings of open world are Rockstar. Nobody does open worlds like them. They cram every nook and cranny with something interesting. Most game developers can't do that. And the open worlds in Mafia 2 especially just felt pointless. Like, there's no reason to just have you drive from place to place to initiate the next cutscene. That's all you're doing. You're driving from one place to another to initiate a cutscene and to start the next mission. Just give me a loading screen or hide the loading screen behind the cutscene. I don't need to drive everywhere. That's just me, though. So I'm glad that they're doing that. I hope it's on par with the first 2. Like I said, I haven't played 3. But it'll be interesting. It's the second time they've done a original story. Because Mafia 3 was their original game. And then 1, they reused the story from the first game, obviously. So, fingers crossed for that. Number 6 is a game called Wolfhound. This is another one that I don't know for sure it's coming out next year, but man, I hope it is. And it is definitely a Castlevania or a Metroidvania game. It's set in World War II. It's on a island full of Nazis, and there's like some kind of experiments going on, and it looks awesome, dude. It looks like 2D Wolfenstein, which that's how it started. Didn't Wolfenstein start as 2D? Kind of, yeah. So it looks like a Wolfenstein. I mean, that's where they get the name Wolfhound. It's probably the inspiration. It's like 2D Wolfenstein Metroidvania. Hell yeah, it looks awesome. And I'm hoping that's as good as it looks and the premise sounds. And it's a developer from this game called Chasm, which I haven't played, but it got good reviews. So I'm hoping I think it's called BitKid. I hope it's good. Now we're down to the top 5. This is the big stuff. Number 5 is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. So something I just realized recently is I never finished Metroid Prime Remastered. I streamed it a while ago when it came out, but I got stuck. I forgot where I was, but I got stuck and pissed off, and I didn't continue. I got probably 2/3 of the way through it. And I'm going to have to finish it, though, and then because the rumor is 2 and 3 were both released this year, they somehow quickly are getting those done. Maybe they don't need as much work as 1. Definitely not 3, because it's a Wii game. But, so those 2 are going to come out, and then 4. So all of them, it's going to be awesome. Because all the 2D Metroids are available on Switch now. And then all the 3D ones will be available. So as a big Metroid fan, it's crazy that I haven't finished Prime Remastered, but I have to now. Because the trailer for this looks awesome. And it could still be delayed, but I doubt it because it's been like 7 years since the announcement. So I think it's going to happen. Although I might want to wait until I get a Switch 2 to play it. Do I really want to play something like that's probably going to run like crap on Switch 1? I don't know. I'll wait and see. Number 4, yet another game revealed at the Game Awards. I think there's like 5 on this list, and that is Split Fiction. Joseph Fares at it again. He doesn't miss. I've loved all of his games. Brothers, A Way Out, It Takes Two, and now this. And let's see if he goes 4 for 4, because each game gets better than the previous one. I absolutely loved It Takes Two. I want to play that again. I was kind of hoping for a sequel to that, but that's not what we're getting here. But it looks very similar. A Way Out was a little... I think A Way Out's his weakest game. The prison escape thing is cool, but like it's not as interesting as what he did with It Takes Two, basically switching genres every level, which he's doing again here with the whole fantasy sci-fi thing. There's even a part that looks like Metroid with the little ball. I I'll play anything this guy makes. He's enthusiastic. He is cocky, and he should be because his games are all really good. He knows he's talented. He knows what he makes is good. And it's coming out pretty soon. It's like in March. Like, I love that. He's like, here's the game. It's coming out in a few months. And he does it to where you only have to buy one copy, which is very smart. I hope it's great. I hope it sells as well as It Takes Two. I actually have to commend EA for letting, like, EA's funding this. And you know how everybody hates EA. I love that EA is still doing this. They're funding these smaller games that are usually much better than their bigger stuff. To them, it's just a little stupid side project. It's probably pennies for them. They don't care. It's not the microtransaction, like, billions that they make every year on FIFA Ultimate Team and all that crap. That's EA, right? I don't even remember. I don't know. I don't play sports games. But it's... And he even says in the trailer, he's like, there's no microtransactions, none of that BS, you just get the game. So, he's one of the best auteurs in the industry right now. So, he's kind of like... how would I describe... Like, because there's auteurs in the game industry that are like equivalent... They have equivalents to movies. Like Kojima and him and Ueda. Like, all these people that are very well known that make their own thing. That studios will basically just, or publishers will hand them tons of cash to make a game for them. So I'm hoping it's as good as It Takes Two. We're in the top 3 now. Number 3 is a game I mentioned earlier, and that is Mouse PI for Hire. Looks awesome. If you've followed me for any reasonable amount of time, you know I love FPS games. Usually every year an FPS game tops my most anticipated list. It's except for like when a Rockstar game comes out. But we'll get to that in a minute. I love FPS games. I love these cool new styles they're doing. And this looks like they're doing the weird rubber hose animation again, like Cuphead, but it's an FPS. And I remember when I first saw that teaser, I'm like, I'm in. That's all I needed to see was basically it looks like a 1930s Mickey Mouse cartoon shooter. I'm in. That's all you got to tell me. Like, just hearing that premise sounds cool. And it looks awesome. I hope it's good. They've been working on it for a while. It was originally just called Mouse, and the teaser came out, and it, like, just that alone, I think, trended. Like, it went viral. So that hope is as good as the premise sounds and as it looks. Now, we come to the top 2. This was really hard, because I have 2 that are fighting for the top spot. And like I said earlier, if a Rockstar game comes out, it's always at the top of the list for me. In 2013, it was GTA 5, obviously. In 2018, it was Red Dead 2. Now, you would expect me to put GTA 6 at number 1 this year, right? Because it's Rockstar. But no, it was really hard. But like, something eked out GTA 6. So GTA 6 does indeed go at my number 2. Just barely missed number 1. Like, this does not... Like, the distance between 1 and 2 are much closer than the rest. So, don't take this as, oh, I'm not excited for GTA 6. I am. But I have worries, because that's the only reason it went to number 2. I have concerns, because GTA 6 is down one Hauser brother. One of them left after Red Dead 2. One of them who's been involved since the beginning, since GTA 1. So that's not good. And Leslie Benzies is gone, the guy that designed the maps for all the games. He's left. And I think there's been more than just those 2. Laszlo left. I don't know. I don't think he developed the game, but Laszlo's gone. And I just think it's going to be really hard it's really hard to satire things these days. South Park has trouble because reality is often dumber than satire now. So satire is becoming more and more difficult. And a lot in the world has changed since GTA 5. So much has changed in the past 11 years that even they said that they're glad GTA 6 is taking as long as it is, because it's just so hard to make fun of things. And so I don't know. I'm just concerned about the game. I don't know. I want them to do what they've always done, which is make fun of everybody. What we don't want them to do is become one-sided. So it's what I want Rockstar to do. Just take a pickaxe to everybody. Don't hold back. And that's what people want out of GTA. It's a parody of America, and there's a lot to make fun of. But I know that there's going to be things that they're afraid to make fun of. I mean, they've already done that with 5. They've censored things. They've taken out jokes and stuff from 5 in subsequent re-releases. So that concerns me a lot. But I'm still holding out hope that it's their masterpiece. And I mean, even if it's not, even if it's half as good as Red Dead 2, that's still going to be one of the best games ever. Or even half as good as GTA 5. Red Dead 2, personally, I think is their masterpiece. I don't know if they'll ever make a game that good again. I love that game. I'm looking at my watch. Where's the 60 FPS update or the re-release? I'll buy that sucker again. Give me a reason, Rockstar. So yeah, GTA 6 number 2. I know most people have it at number 1. But again, if you know me and this channel, I think you know what number 1 is. And that is Doom: The Dark Ages. I mean, I love Doom. I've said that many times. Doom Eternal was my most anticipated of 2020. So this is not surprising to me. And 2016, I wasn't even following. I didn't even realize, like, for some reason I didn't really follow the development of that game. I wasn't aware that a new Doom was coming out at the time. But I closely followed the development of Eternal and this one. I mean, we've only seen one trailer from this, and just that trailer alone, man, did it deliver a statement. It looks amazing. I don't know how you top Eternal. That's going to be really hard because Eternal's really good. But from what I've heard, some descriptions, I mean, being able to pilot a mech and ride a dragon. I didn't know how you can make Doom more epic, but and the chain shield. Seems like there's no chainsaw this game because it's set in the past, but you got basically a Captain America shield with a saw on it. I mean, amazing. Everything added to this game makes it more metal, as if Doom could get any more metal than it already was. You got a gun that grinds up skulls and shoots shards of bone at enemies. But the biggest detail I've heard about this game that could one-up it for me from Eternal is there's Metroidvania elements. Again, I love Metroidvania, and I mean, there's plenty of 3D Metroidvania games, like obviously Metroid Prime or the Batman Arkham games. But I love when shooters incorporate stuff like that. Like when you get new guns, new tools that you need to unlock secrets and stuff. That's much preferred. I defend the platforming sections of Doom Eternal. I know there's people that hate it. I defend them. I like the platforming. But some people are bad at platforming and they hated it. But if instead of platforming, if they're doing like unlockable areas using Metroidvania elements, I'll take that over platforming. That sounds great. So it's everything you love about Doom, but medieval weaponry. I've been begging for a new fantasy shooter from id. Personally, I wanted a new Hexen or Heretic or Quake. But if I understand, I bet that was talked about at the studio. But I had the feeling Bethesda was like, well, Doom sells so well. Doom has the recognition. More people know the name Doom than Quake. So that's probably was the impetus for making a new Doom. You could tell it wanted to make a fantasy shooter, but they were told you have to make it in Doom. And they've been kind of hinting at this game for a while, I think. So I think this will be the end of the modern Doom trilogy. It'll probably go on ice for a while after that. So, and it's id. Id is one of the few developers out there these days that doesn't miss. Has id ever missed? I mean, I take that back. They have missed the Rage games. But that was id plus Avalanche for the sequel. It was all id for the first one, but and also Doom 3, it's still a good game, but it's not Doom. I don't know. Right now they're on a winning streak. So, and they got really, really good talent there at id. So, right now I think I might have to put id above Rockstar just a bit. So, that's my number 1. And there you have it. Those are my top 15 most anticipated games of 2025. What is your list? I'd love to hear it in the comments. Let me know if any of these are on your list, or if I missed some, or if I introduced a game that you hadn't heard of. I love when I introduce things to people that they didn't know about, and they're like, wow, thank you, I'll play this now. So, like, share, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next year for a bunch of new games, and I will probably be streaming all of these, as many as I can. So I will see you next time. Peace out.